side room with recliner chairs and somebody needs to take a little cat nap. No, not a massage chair, just something to take a little cat nap or something. Well, I don't have to go all the way back home and stuff. So, I like it.
You done it?
I am. All right. Lorraine, thanks for being here. Sam, thanks for being here. Might have some stragglers come in. Okay, so we've gone over several weeks in a row, or not in a row, but several months, the offer to purchase. And so today I wanted to switch over to, not the offer to purchase, let me start over and use my correct words. So each month that we've talked about the listing agreement, we have done the exclusive right for residential. And so I wanted to, and I always talk too much, so I never have enough time to get to the vacant land. So I wanted to start today with the exclusive right to sell listing agreement for vacant land. And so many of the changes on this are very similar to the changes on that happened with the residential listing agreement. So just a reminder that that's fine, yeah, who the agreement is between. So this is the seller. Reminder, if the seller is an entity or the seller is a trust, that's who the seller is. There's a human that signs on behalf of that entity or that trust. And then the other reminder on that is make sure that you are using the seller's proper name. Not, so it would be James Wooten, not Jim Wooten, not Buddy, not, whatever their nickname might be. Make sure you're using their full name. And then the firm, of course, is Keller Williams Central. If you are an entity in yourself, you would need to name yourself as well. So when I would fill one out, I would put Ward Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Central. So same thing, Dudley Realty Group, powered by whatever her.
How does that affect E&O insurance?
It doesn't.
It still reflects on Keller Williams Central.
That's correct. Yes. So the reason that you name if you're an entity, that you are required to name yourself as an entity is because the consumer needs to be able to find you with the real estate commission. So you may be,
So that's for all agreements.
that's correct. Yes.
So why would a legal name for the seller be required if it's an internal document?
This town has,
Yes.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Why would a legal name be required if it's an internal document?
We need to identify the legal name of because it's an agreement between the firm and the seller. And if we're not properly identifying the seller, then there could be an issue with, do we have a valid agreement? So in other words, if you put Buddy Smith on there and his name is Charles Smith, then, and we have no documentation, no driver's license, no anything that identifies Buddy Smith as Charles Smith, then we may not have of that. Who do we have an agreement with? We have an agreement with somebody named Buddy, but is Buddy really the seller?
Yeah.
Term of the agreement, number 2, this has to be a reasonable definitive date. It cannot be TBD. And it also needs to, when I say reasonable, it needs to be a reasonable amount of time in which to sell the property. So with vacant land, sometimes we see these longer than we would necessarily residential, depending on if it's a subdivision lot, might not be that long. If it's large acreage that, has a unique buyer, it could be up to a year. So not uncommon to see terms for up to 1 year.
You need a residential agreement for 1 year?
I'm sorry.
You need a residential agreement up to 1 year?
You could, yes. I mean, typically we don't. Number one, I don't know that why do I want to work with a seller for a year? I mean, if they aren't in a position to where their property sells within a reasonable amount of time, then it's either overpriced, the condition, something's wrong with it. If I have to do a 1-year listing agreement. We've seen as short as 3 months. I'm seeing a lot more go back to 6 months now for residential. Number 3, property. This is where you identify the property. Again, all of this information comes from the tax card, which is a required document to pull. So no reason that you cannot fill in this information. So the part that's in yellow indicates that if the seller wishes to sell less than an entire tract of land, then the assistance of a real estate attorney is strongly advised. So again, all right, I have this 10 acres, but I want to cut 1 acre off of it to be beside, to give myself a little more privacy or whatever. So from my standpoint, go ahead and do it. If they don't, then they need to consult with an attorney on what that looks like. Because from a buyer standpoint, I don't know what I'm buying. There's too much of an unknown out there if it hasn't already been surveyed off, recorded, and I know exactly what I'm buying, and the seller knows exactly what they're selling as well. Could be a problem if they have not already done that. So would strongly advise that they do that prior to, and if they don't want to do that, then they need to talk to an attorney, and we need the attorney to advise us on how to properly market the property as well. List price, again, must be a definitive number, cannot be TBD. Marketing, this is this just like with your residential, this is the date that you will begin marketing the property. And then either initial at public marketing, if it's a coming soon, then you would put that information in as well. Again, this mirrors the residential. And then, of course, if it's an office exclusive. Lock boxes, this might be in the instance of maybe there's a locked gate in order to access the property. Are we authorized to put a lockbox on the locked, provide the key? Surveillance devices, again, same thing, disable all audio devices when the property is being shown. And then we get into the firm's fee. Again, Everybody does their business a little different. Typically, the second box under B is going to be what we typically fill out on these. And that is the percentage of the property's gross sales price, or if it's a flat fee. And then other fees would be any additional fees that you may charge as part of your business. So, there are some people that charge a $75 transaction fee. There are some people that charge a $150 transaction fee. There are some people that charge a $3.95 transaction fee. Whatever that number is, make sure that you add it in on other fees and specify what it is and the amount. We would never check the last box because we do not have a firm fee schedule.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, the firm does not have a fee. Because the last firm I was, they had a fee, so you guys don't have.
So we have a $75 transaction fee when it closes. Yes. Yes. Now we get to cooperative compensation. Our firm would prefer that you check the first box. That firm is authorized to offer whatever that cooperative compensation is. So then we take B plus C, and that equals D. So this is land. So we're going to say, okay, it's a 10% total. So in B would be 5% of the property's gross sales price. And then C would be the top box checked, 5% of the property's gross sales price. D for a total of 10%. Questions on that?
So for B, if, say, for instance, I wanted to charge a non-refundable fee of $1,200.
Okay.
Can I put that under other fees?
No, if you're charging a non-refundable retainer,
Oh, I see.
it's the top box.
Are you seeing anybody charging?
No.
Retainer fees?
No. Number 7, just a reminder that we do not have a trust account and we do not hold earnest monies. B, if a buyer defaults on the purchase contract, seller does not. We've never done this as a practice. We would typically check does not agree to equally split any earnest money forfeited by the buyer. And then indicate who the due diligence fee should be paid to if it's someone other than the seller. And then we get into,
So highs in the upper 60s tomorrow, it's sunny, partly cloudy, 70 on Friday, 75 on Saturday, with a 20% chance for rain. And as warm
Karen,
is
Karen,
yes, Sherry.
if the due diligence fee isn't paid to the seller, what are some instances or what are some examples of who it would be paid to?
So it might be paid to the estate.
Oh, okay.
It might be paid to the trust. It might be paid to the trustee or to the executor. That's where it might be paid to someone other than the seller.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yep, you bet. Donna Marie, did you have a question?
The earnest money,
There's a trouble.
I need some clarification on that. The firm does not hold.
We do not hold earnest money, no.
Where does
The closing attorney, yes.
Governor's last sign and it comes out for similar.
Or,
fee,
yes.
With the police, so the governor, so the mayor, as well as president. Now, this letter is led by Republican Congressman Mark Harris and was co-signed by.
Jerry, can you mute yourself?
Yes. Sorry about that.
We can hear your news going on. Thank you. that answer your question, Donna Marie?
Because
Yes, so typically, if there is earnest money, I am not a fan of earnest money. I'm okay with additional earnest money. I'm not a fan of initial earnest money. Only because it only gives two people a reason to argue about something at a later date. Even though contractually, it's very clear who should be entitled to the earnest money. It still requires both people to agree before it can be dispersed. But if you have earnest money, then you would just have it made out to, if you have a buyer that is submitting earnest money, you would have it made out to the closing attorney.
you can pretty much be their attorney.
That's correct. Yes.
It's most efficiently to have the closing attorney do it.
Yeah. Okay, dual agency. So 8B, we would want our seller to authorize the firm to act as a dual agent. This allows our other fellow agents in Keller Williams Central to show the property, write offers on the property, all of that sort of thing. So we want them to authorize dual agency. Second part, if the firm may act as a dual agent, then initial only one line below. In my opinion, there should only be two. Again, you know, I'm making my cases with the real estate commission on some of these things, but the seller does authorize the same agent to represent both the seller and the buyer. So that would be same agent, dual agency. Yes. The second line makes no sense to me whatsoever. So it's either, the seller should either choose the top line or the last line. They either do allow same agent, dual agency, or they don't allow same agent, dual agency, and therefore they do allow designated dual agency.
Yeah, that's a big cause of confusion.
Yeah, it's like that whole middle line, it says seller does not. Well, okay, but what happens if they do not? We want to be able to go into designated dual. Any questions on that?
No, just this will have to make you know.
So they did add any personal property because sometimes there may be some personal property left on vacant land. And this is where you would indicate that. Disclosures and representations, just make sure you're going down through those check boxes. Working with a relocation company, has received sample copies.
Why is there a number 9 on it? Vacant thing.
Yeah, that's good question. I don't have the answer to that one. Yeah. Yes, so again, disclosures and representations, have or have not owned the property, does not yet own the property, has legal access to a public right of way. This is, you check, this is a box that you don't have to check if it is on a public road. So if the land is on access of a public road, you don't check this box. This is just the property has legal access to a public right of way. I'm sorry. Yes, So has access to to a public right of way, which would be a state maintained road, a 2-lane road, whatever the case may be. If the access is by other means, such as private road or an easement, there is or is not an agreement. And so that's where you would check is or is not. F, is there a mobile home that's conveying? Is it subject to owners association? Subject to restrictive covenants, conditions, restrictions? Not subject to known potential or pending dispute, violation, or litigation that or affects the seller, the owner association, or the property. Seller is or is not a foreign person defined by Foreign Investment and Real Property Tax Act. Is or is not located in a floodplain. Is or is not affected by other water or riparian issues, creek buffers, wetlands. Seller does or does not have or maintain flood insurance. That doesn't include mud puddles.
Yeah, so can I go back to, property E? So can, for instance, I'm filling out this form and I didn't fill out E, would that be something in compliance? Because okay, makes sense.
It depends. If it's on a public road, then you don't check anything. If it's not on a public road, and so let's say that there is an easement to get to the property, you got to go across somebody else's property to get to this property, then that's where you would check because it's,
Okay, so if it's on the public road, just leave it alone.
you got it.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll check it.
Yep, you got it. And then you've got your special assessments, any deeds, leases. Always make sure with vacant land, you want to ask about leases, particularly crop leases, hunting leases, things like that. We think about, oh, well, it's vacant land, nobody's living there, but they could have a crop lease. There could be a hunting lease, those sorts of things. So we want to make sure that we ask about those. Timber.
Grades, my dad had a great, let his neighbors, they rented let his horses graze on property.
Yeah,
They're like 10 acres, they never used, but the horses out there. So they had a lease agreement.
Yeah. yeah, absolutely. Because that lease has to be honored by the buyer through the term of the lease. If it's a year-to-year lease, then it has to be honored for the term of the lease. Got your fuel tanks, off-site septics, boat slip, garage, parking space, storage unit. Always a reminder on number 15, we are real estate professionals and we shall stay in our lane. Anybody that we may refer to them would be specialists in that area. And we do not give any professional advice when it comes to law, taxes, financing, insurance, surveying, wood destroying insects, structural soundness, engineering, building construction, and anything else related to purchasing real estate.
Everything.
I'll just watch.
Okay.
I would prefer to be here. No, like, no.
On the signature page, just a reminder again, if the seller is an entity or a trust, the name goes here and then the title, who are they, and the human on behalf of the entity or the trust signs at that area. Firm, make sure that if you are an entity on firm license number / your firm's license number. So both license numbers would need to be there, and then, of course, your real estate license number.
I kind of missed that.
I usually
I
put
was
Sam's
distracted.
number in that spot.
Can you go to the
I
entity
put,
part? I was distracted.
The what part?
Entity part. For instance, so
Yes.
this me, I have a business name, so what do I put on here? My name or the business name?
As far
See,
as
this
from a
thing
real,
is on
what do you
both.
sign from as the agent?
No, not the agent, from
They
the person I'm
were
representing.
Okay.
emailing both of us.
So if,
Well,
so
it was
if the
Like, so listen.
seller is an entity, so let's just say it is Donna Marie Revocable Trust. That's an entity.
Okay.
And then you are, so then that would go here. Donna Marie, yes, as the entity, Donna Marie Revocable Trust. And then by name and title, we would put Donna Marie Anderson as trustee, and then you sign your name. All right, any questions on this? Figured that would be an easy one. So along with our vacant land listing agreement, we must also have a, get back here. We must also have a vacant land disclosure statement. So very similar to our codes, vacant land now has a disclosure statement. It is a required form. Just like our codes is a required form. So in the vacant land offer to purchase, much like in the 2T, there's a box that if the buyer doesn't receive it within those 3 days, that the buyer can terminate the contract. So it is a required disclosure. Disclose any of these things in regards to the property.
You have that form?
I didn't print it out. No.
This is a vacant land disclosure form, that's the name of it?
Yes. Form number 142.
Okay.
And just like the RPOs, there is a yes, there's a no, and there's a no representation. Yes, give additional information. No, no, no representation. Seller doesn't want to answer. And it addresses agricultural timber, mineral aspects, again, licenses, leases, allotments, usage permits, crops, hunting, water, timber, etc. Grazing would be included with that. And then and then also, has it been timbered within the past 25 years? And then harvest impact. And then any environmental. And utilities that are available on the property. And then here's the explanation part for anything that was answered yes to.
I think it's unlike the residential the utility has to be present, this one it doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be one.
Okay,
There's
like
no real-
residential, the utility has to be present and working. Right?
Correct,
So for this one, it's
not
not
necessarily.
necessary.
No, because it could be I mean, there could be utilities on it, but it could be a 2 acre lot out in the country that has access to electricity, but there may not necessarily be like a service on the property, at the time. Again, same thing. Entities or, non-entities. Questions about the vacant land disclosure? All right. I'm doing good. Usually about 7 minutes behind. All right, so we will jump to the residential.
Oh my God.
All right, same thing, just like the vacant land, identify who the seller is. And then same thing with the firm, KW Central. Term of agreement must be a reasonable and definitive date. And one thing I didn't say on the vacant land, but it does pertain to the vacant land, it cannot be auto renewable. So it has to expire at some point in time, without being, auto renewed.
But none of them is already renewed.
No, but there are some people out there that, have tried to do that. And, yeah, ended up with,
Someone had like 30 years.
30 years.
Agreement.
Yeah, yeah.
Lifelong
Company that I
agreement.
heard that signed a lot of people to some agreement for years and they got it. I'm permitting the company.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So, again, reasonable, definitive, and, not auto renewed. Property, again, all of this information is on your tax card that you're required to pull. Fixtures. So everything that is on this list remains with the property. I think this is an important time when I'm sitting down and I'm going through the listing agreement with my seller. I think this is an important thing to say, hey, let's go through this. Let's go through this and make sure that this is everything that's intended to stay. Is there anything on here that you don't intend to leave?
Time she go. It's gonna be time, they're like, I wanna keep this.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yes. So yes, definitely no seller, you can't take the stove with you when you leave. You'd be amazed.
I was confused with this list, because this list is saying that they cannot take any of this, or they can choose what they want and put it back here.
So this is everything according to the statute, this is everything that goes with a house, that goes with a property. It's different in different states. If Kevin were here, he would say, oh, well, in the state of Florida, the washer and dryer always convey. Not the case with North Carolina. So yes, this is everything that goes with the house. If for some reason they have I always use, so a light fixture. Let's say that they have grandma's chandelier in the dining room. They can exempt anything that's on here. My recommendation is if you don't want it to remain, go ahead and replace it now. Because otherwise the buyer is going to want, yeah, they're gonna see it and they're gonna want grandma's chandelier.
I do.
Reminder to unpair and delete data. There is that form that I have shared with you. I can't remember the number right on top of my head. It is the seller checklist, seller closing checklist.
And with that, with your sellers, I had a buyer, we closed with a farm screen thing, it's like the thermostat, and it had the last recording of still up there, and it was the previous homeowner naked walking through the.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell
So,
your homeowner, don't leave your
yes,
stuff
that's
naked.
correct.
Make sure you unpair.
Yeah.
It was still connected, but it was like unlocked. So when they opened it, it was.
Yeah, yes. So that is on that, seller closing checklist, that is available for you. Use it as part of your, services that you provide to the seller. And yeah, just a reminder on that. Any items leased or not owned. This would be anything such as satellite dishes, appliances, solar panels, electric car chargers, alarm systems, things like that. Identify those items here. We want to make sure that we're asking those questions, because if the refrigerator is, the buyer asked for the refrigerator and the seller said, sure, we'll convey the refrigerator, and they don't own the refrigerator because Rent-A-Center owns the refrigerator and they're just paying a monthly payment, then we need to have clarity on that. Would be the same thing like with the stove. And certainly, typically satellite dishes, the satellite companies just say, we're not coming to get the dish, but, because that stuff outdates so quickly. So, solar panels, so my first recommendation would be if your buyer wants to buy a house that has solar panels on it, talk them out of it. That would be the first thing. And then, the second thing is with solar panels, we need to get all of that information from the seller in regards to the solar panel agreement. Is it transferable? Who owns them at this point? All of those kinds of things. So
Is it still a really big, a risk if it's gonna be paid off at closing?
as long as the agreement is that it's paid off at closing. Yeah. And so this is where we do not talk about fuel tanks in under this one, because fuel tanks has its own section in and of itself. So this is where you would put any items that are excluded. So any of those things that were on that list previously, anything that might be excluded, you would list here. And then any personal property that they are getting, this would be personal property would be things like washer, dryer, refrigerator, countertop, microwave. Be careful putting high ticket items here. So zero turn lawnmower, probably gonna want to put that on a bill of sale, because the lender is gonna be like, okay, well, am I financing a $5,000 lawnmower, or those sorts of things. So, when it comes to any, but you could also put things like patio furniture. Um, you know, small ticket, not that patio furniture is a small ticket item, but you know, when we start getting into a lot of those, you're probably gonna wanna use the bill of sale form for that, as opposed to putting it on here. List price, again, must be a definitive number, cannot be TBD. Also, check the terms that the seller is willing to accept. And don't just default and check every single box. Make sure that the property qualifies for what you're checking. If it's in the city of Arlington, it's not USDA. If you've got peel and paint, broken windows, any of that stuff, it's not gonna go FHA or VA. Don't check those boxes. Loan assumption and seller financing, we need to consult an attorney on those. Marketing, this is the date that you will begin marketing. Okay, so if you are doing a coming soon, then it is your coming soon date. Because you're marketing it. You've put it in MLS as a coming soon, it's pushing to the aggregate sites. You've got a sign in the yard that says coming soon, all of those things. So you're marketing it. And then at your coming soon, you are indicating when it will actually go active. So move from coming soon to active. If you're not doing a coming soon, then your marketing date is your active date. Sellers would initial at public marketing. Office exclusive, you only initial that if it is an office exclusive situation. Usually if it's office exclusive, you and I have had a conversation about office exclusive prior to how we want to strategically do an office exclusive.
Is there any different criteria for office exclusive?
No marketing. There's zero marketing. You can't post it on Facebook. You don't put a sign in the yard. No marketing
Right,
whatsoever.
right, I know all that, but I mean, for, when you say come to you, is there something different, just come to you?
Well, I mean, so typically it is, you may be having a conversation with your seller on the advantages or disadvantages to doing an office exclusive. And most of the time when we end up doing an office exclusive, it's because you're coming to me because you're saying, okay, well, I'm about to list this house and the neighbors came over and they want, their son wants to buy the house and how can I work this deal? And so that's where I would say, let's do an office. All right. Same as the vacant land, firm's fee, non-refundable retainer, if that's your business, if that's in your business model. Typically it is a certain percentage of the property's gross sales price. This is only the amount that the firm will receive on the list side. So it's not the total amount. That's been a big adjustment for a lot of people because we used to put the total amount and then how much we were going to give to somebody else. Now it's totally separate, thanks to the NAR settlement. So if you are, so this would be, it's a 6% listing, and I'm the list side, we're going to get 3%, and then the seller. Hold on, I'll get there. Let me back up. 3%, or a flat fee. Sometimes there's a flat fee. If you've got an agreement with somebody, it may just be a flat fee. Other fees, again, this would be if you charge within your business model, if you charge a transaction fee, you would add those fees in to here,
Where,
other fees. Yes.
what if I do charge a transaction fee and I don't know if I put it right there?
Well, then you need to put it right there.
What if I didn't do it on one of the lists as a thunder contract? Did I just give away my transaction fee?
Well, technically, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got, well, I'll have to look back. Let me see where I'm,
Yes,
pretty sure I didn't put it there.
because
We signed this before this form came out, I think that. This is 7/20/25. This went on the market into May, beginning of June. So how does that work? I have it on my net sheet. I have it.
I have to go back
Okay.
and, yeah,
I just hit me. I see I learned something.
yeah.
Someone was around in 2024, because I remember this part, but could she do one of those amendments?
Sure,
documents,
yeah.
Put it on there?
We'll just have them initial the change.
No, that's not right, right?
You can't amend a fully executed agreement. No, there's a form for that. That's why
And work out prices sometimes and change them. Y'all approve it,
That.
and everybody initials. Like if you've had
Don't
not
scare me, I
not a listing price change, but like, going back and forth. Usually I ask for a clean whatever, but
yes.
I've had plenty that we.
Well, okay, but if in other words, you're changing it before it's been accepted by everybody. It's not accepted by everybody and then you went back and changed it. Just say yes.
For my purpose, just say yes.
Let me look back at this contract.
This, highlighted firm's fee schedule attached, again, we would never check this box because we do not have a firm fee schedule. Cooperative compensation. So we want the seller to authorize the firm to offer the cooperative compensation. So you would check the top box and then you would put 3%, whatever that amount is, that the firm is authorized to offer.
Oh, I see. I put it in my percentage, 3.6 and split 2.4, 3.6, so I took care of it in that.
Okay. So then, D, so B plus C equals D. So this would be, 6%, right? Because we've got 3% to the firm. The seller has authorized the firm to offer 3% to the co-broke. So we've got 6%. If we also had a $75 transaction fee, we would put 6% plus $75 transaction fee on line D. Because that's all of the monies.
So to be clear, for B, you only put the, seller side, not the buyer side on B.
B is just what the firm is going to receive, yes, not what the buyer agent is going to receive. So again, if you do the transaction fee, make sure that in D, you're putting the total amount. It also gives clarity to your client as well, because if you think it's confusing to you, imagine how confusing it is to your seller. Okay. Protection period. This is anywhere from, I've seen it, I see 45, I see 90, I see 60, I see 120. I don't usually see anything over 120. Whatever number it is that you want to put into that blank, you can put into that blank. Just know and understand, if the seller lists the property with another real estate agent, then that protection period goes away.
Are there other firms you just do for the same amount of, if the contract was for 6 months, you just put 6 months right there too?
I mean, so this is after, this would be after it, expires.
I use for 180 days.
Yeah, well,
I usually use 90, 60 or 90.
Yeah.
I've
There's
never
no-
had to use that because it says in it, you gotta send them a list.
Yes.
And nobody has time for all that, and most of the time somebody's gonna relist with somebody else. I mean, it's gonna be hard to,
we did have one in the office though,
that they've collected on that.
that went for sale by owner, and the agent notified, gave them a list.
That's hard. I never heard it. I mean, I really, you know,
Rarely, yes,
rarely,
yeah,
unless you hate those people you never want. You're like, yeah,
well,
piss them off.
yeah,
Good.
that was pretty much the case.
Karen,
Yes.
Karen, what do you recommend that we put there?
She was sleeping.
So that's totally up to you, Sherry. That number, I see 30, I see 60, I see 90,
Uh-huh.
120. Donna Marie says she does 180. So it's completely up to you. Whatever you want to put there, just know that, if they list with another agent, then that protection period goes away.
Right. So it would be to our benefit to list a shorter amount, right? Like maybe 30 or 45?
Well, I mean, it depends, if, you know, and that's the other thing, you know, read the rest of the paragraph.
Mhm.
Within 15 days, you have to notify the seller of the list of names that the firm procured.
Right. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yep, you bet. All right, home warranty does or does not, pre-marketing inspection does or does not, earnest money, we do not have a trust account, we do not hold trust monies. We do not agree to equally split any earnest money and who the due diligence fee is paid to. All right, and dual agency, again,
Where did you skip over that yellow part right there?
what yellow part?
G.
Oh, transfer of interest in a business entity, because you're probably never gonna run into it, so no need to spend a whole lot of time on it. Dual agency, again, we would like for the seller to authorize the firm to act as a dual agent, so initial here. And then we would like the seller to, two different things. So the seller either can authorize the same agent to represent both seller and buyer. That would be same agent, dual agency. If the seller does not, then we want them to initial the bottom lines. So that it then, if they don't authorize same agent, then it they do authorize designated dual. Questions on that?
So you're saying. This still agency, I was thinking, so you're saying they should do the last one? The
Yes.
seller does not authorize.
Yes, does not authorize the same agent to represent both a buyer and seller in dual agency. And directs the firm to practice designated dual agency.
So what happened if they do, because, oh, is this one crossed out at the top? So
It's the only, if that's just because they changed it. I mean, if you look at the form now, you're not gonna see the, you know, the cross outs or the highlights, that sort of thing. This is just the version that shows you what changed. They only changed that just so it would be in line with the buyer agency agreement and the vacant land.
decided to approve it to, for you. Let's say for me to be working at dual agent, or it's a definite. You know what I mean?
Yes, one or the other. So if you're in your conversation with your seller, if your seller authorizes you to act as a dual agent, they would initial the top lines here. And there may be times, I'm not saying that it's perfectly legal to practice dual agency. Just be very careful with it. I always say go with the bottom one because that's the most likely thing that is going to happen. And it can be, there's a form for it. We can change it.
I usually have the second word signed. What is really the difference?
Well, then what happens? The second one makes 0 sense to me whatsoever. So what happens? If I so they don't authorize you to act as a dual agent,
Mhm.
but then I bring you an offer.
I'm not, but you as another agent are bringing it on.
Yeah, but we're in the same firm.
Yeah, but it's saying that it doesn't authorize the same agent to represent both, but you've already said at the top, firm may act as a dual agent.
Right, but I'm a designated agent. When I filled out my paperwork, I had my buyer sign.
See, and that's crazy because when I took the whatever they discussed, they told us to do number 2.
Number 2 makes no sense.
When I did the continuing ed last year, because this was already on there last year.
Yes, yes.
So
Because, well, and so
they said,
there's no ending to it.
I just,
It's like, okay,
on
no,
every one of mine, that is what I use, because when I took my gen up, that's what they said to use. That was the one, if you were not gonna practice dual agency yourself in the transaction, you would use that.
well, and I think that's where sometimes we have to be aware or who's teaching the class. You know what I'm saying? Is it somebody that is with a firm and
Well, who
understands?
knows? I mean, you
how-
take it through like the CE,
Yes,
whatever, and you
yes.
just take whoever they give you.
Right, so
So
if,
you just assume they know what they're talking
well,
about.
yeah, but,
Well, okay.
Yes.
well, Switch it up.
yeah. Yes, yes. So, yes, because this just says seller does not authorize the same agent to represent both the seller and the buyer. Okay, but now you gotta do, if you have them initial that, now you gotta go back and have them sign another form, an amendment that says that they authorize designated dual.
Cause I always thought it was that y'all literally assigned, like, let's say, so that's how it was explained in that class, that would only be checked in the event that somebody, let's say somebody wanted you to make the actual offer and you weren't gonna do dual agency. And your broker or whoever, almost like we did a referral within the office and that person did the represented the buyer. That is the way they kept explaining it to me.
Well, it would be in that case,
Because you literally
would
have to
all-
designate.
yes, but it would also, well, you designated it.
Yeah.
Not me, because you decided who you wanted to give the referral to. So it doesn't matter if you refer it to somebody else or if I brought a buyer on my own.
I don't know, we went round and round in this in class too with Jason.
Well, yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you who's right.
Oh. Yeah, so.
Unless you can explain it and prove it to me otherwise. Good. Here's all your representations.
I wanna know which one he picked.
Most of the time, well, Joe either selects,
I always do too.
the seller does authorize the same agent. Or, yes, thank you for being here, Sam. Or
You
he,
did that.
or he does the last one.
I do dual agents.
Yeah.
I'll do dual agency on some stuff.
I don't have a problem with it. I learned it inside and out when I went to real estate school, and if you do it the right way, there's no problem with it.
Well, I'll sometimes I'll put that, but it's usually only for my land stuff. I don't wanna do houses.
You just gotta be careful on how you do it.
Yes, yeah. And thinking, I know these are listing forms, but thinking about on your buyer form, if you are doing your buyer agency at the same time that you're writing an offer for a Keller Williams listing, then.
Then that most definitely is gonna be the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I have a problem with is the agents that are on teams. Now, I won't be stepping on some toes. The agents that are on teams that say, I don't practice dual agency. I just refer it out to somebody on my team. That's a conflict of interest in my opinion,
Well, that happens a lot.
because they all have a vested interest in keeping it in their team.
Then
Yeah.
I should choose the first one and say, I want to be a dual.
But that's just me.
Or the seller is allow me to be a dual agent, but then you bring a buyer, what does it matter? Is what I'm saying, if you brought the buyer,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter, does it?
The agents, yes, it matters in agency.
Yeah, within the
Mary.
same agent.
Yes.
Which,
Oh, so if I said seller does authorize me to practice as a dual agent, but then she brings the buyer.
then that's irregardless of that, because we're not.
Right, it
even
doesn't matter,
practicing
that's what I'm
dual agency.
saying.
Correct.
Does it matter?
Yeah, you are practicing dual agency.
I mean-
The firm is practicing dual
She's
agency.
saying that she picks, firm may
Yes,
act
you
as
are.
a dual agent,
Yes,
and then
right.
she authorizes herself to do dual agency, but then when the buyer contract comes in, it's from me.
Mm.
Yes,
So
So-
that's still fine on
It
her
don't matter.
listing side, because
she's gotta modify her agreement.
do you go back and modify it?
Really? Oh,
If you need to.
I've never done that.
Well, your file gets kicked back, so I guess you've just never had a situation where that's happened. Both have to match. She can't be a dual agent and you be a
It's just saying
designated.
it's authorizing it, it's not saying
Nope,
that.
you
it's
are.
good.
You are, yes, you are. If that's what your buyer agency says, then you
That's the
are.
only kind of contract I can take as a dual agency, then we should have multiple things
something
initials
else
over there.
yeah.
I mean, that's just
What
my
else
thinking,
would-
I should not go to this. class.
I think the essence of the designated dual agency, now correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm always willing to learn within reason. Is that if it does come to the, like if it was a team, and then they had
I
a
think
buyer
that's-
calling about their listing, that the broker in charge should designate the agent and not the team.
Yeah, I think that's my understanding from that class I took.
That's the essence of what designated. dual
That
agency is.
designated means the BIC actually appoints
Designates
somebody.
Right.
No,
That's what I.
It has to not have a self-serving interest.
Yeah.
no. Designated dual is the difference between the agency relationship. So if you're a dual agent, then I'm telling you everything. I have an obligation to tell you everything. When I am a designated dual agent, I am a fiduciary to you and I do not share any confidential information to the agent on the other side.
All the more reason why it shouldn't be within the same team, in my opinion.
Get out of here with your
Yeah.
teams.
No, I think that's mainly, might be structured.
It's true though.
I'm not denying you. But that's where the agency difference comes in, because if you're, and as long as they're the same, then it's not gonna get kicked back for compliance. But y'all just need to understand what type of agency you're in. If you're in dual agency, then you gotta tell Donna Marie everything. Donna Marie's gotta tell you everything. If her seller says, you know, we need to sell this house, we'll go to whatever. She has an obligation to tell you that because we're dual agents. That's exactly what dual agents are. It's the same thing when you're a same agent dual agent. You have to tell everything.
And I think that's the part where I get, we're not confused, but misunderstanding, because the same one that I said, the seller does authorize me to represent both the seller and the buyer. He's saying that they're giving me permission, say for instance, I find a buyer, I get a permission, but if she finds a buyer, it's, you see what I'm saying? It doesn't, do I have to go back and change that?
Yes.
Say,
Yes. Yes. Because if she is a designated dual agent, you also have to be a designated dual agent.
what's your name?
Emily.
Emily. I never thought about that, I probably just go ahead and
All right, it's 2:04.
Okay.
Any other
I'm
questions?
Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. It's all, I always like it when people attend and ask questions and, it gives for good dialogue.
Well, I'll have to update my things from now on, because I think